Hey everybody, how we doing out there? Doc and Mav. We have no hair. We have hair over here, and we are here to give you a quick little update on what's going on today, and take your questions after that. So we'll just be here maybe 20 minutes or so, be in and out before you know it. How's everybody doing out there? Mav, what have you got in your world going on?
It's a sunny day here in LA, and yeah, no, it's good to see the crypto market is doing. It's kind of sideways today, but it's still in the positive area, and yeah, I don't know. I think we're still we're still kind of processing and digesting the news yesterday about Facebook's Libra coin and what that means for the larger space, and this larger shift towards big tech and privacy and all this. There's a lot of implications, but overall I think the sentiment is that it's good for the crypto space for there to be ventures like this. We're learning today that a lot of the biggest markets that potentially Libra can penetrate into, India, Russia, even the US, it's potentially going to be banned. So I think we're quickly learning that regulations are still, in the Stone Age in some
Let,
respects.
let's do everybody a favor here. Not everybody probably knows exactly what's going on with
Yeah.
Libra, so maybe we should
Yeah.
just give like a little 2 minute update on what it is, and then we can go into what we'll talk about, just compare and contrast strengths and weaknesses of this thing. And, is it going to get booted? Is Maxine Waters going to prevent this from launching? Or so, yeah, go ahead and give them kind of an update on what this is.
Sure. So Libra is Facebook's answer for providing a concurrent payment solution for all of their social media platforms. So WhatsApp, Messenger, I suppose Instagram eventually. They want to have just a baseline currency that they have some control over. You know, they're claiming it's decentralized, but it's a Byzantine fault tolerant consensus, and they've got a gang of 100 validators, which they claim that makes them decentralized in some respects, and they're sort of hands off. But I don't know. It's a bit of a cabal because you have, in order to be a validator, in order to have the Facebook investment token and have a seat at the table basically and run the network, you have to have at least $1 billion dollars asset under management, which just immediately.
So an end user would convert whatever sovereign currency that they're using, whatever
Yeah.
fiat currency that they're using, and they would buy these tokens, these Facebook tokens. Are they have any special name at this point? Or they,
It's
yeah,
a Libra coin.
Libra coin. Okay, so they're
Yeah.
going to buy Libra coin of some denomination. Now, the other thing to understand too is that it's not going to float like a Bitcoin, right? It's not going to have, it's going to be pegged to how many currencies are we hearing?
Well, I know that there's going to be the U.S. and Euro, but yeah, they're still kind of loose on the specifics of, like, what basket of assets, commodities or whatever that they're going to peg this against. I think it would be really interesting to see if they eventually consider Bitcoin in that mix, but we'll see. That's probably a pipe dream, but I don't
I,
know.
I doubt it, and I'm not sure that we'd actually want that. I guess that's just my own opinion on that.
It's
But
probably true.
I'd prefer that Bitcoin is allowed to float on its own and not get involved with this. But
Yeah, yeah.
so, what do you see as the what's the potential risk here? What's bad about this project?
Okay. Yeah.
And
There's
I know you just did a big video on this the other day, so I'm kind of asking you to kind of harvest some of your points from that.
sure. Yeah, I think the obvious implications here that everybody jumps to is privacy and the sense that, like, Facebook is going to rule our lives and understand what you're going to do before you even do it. Like that's the whole point of this. you aren't paying fees in terms of like, like when I send a Bitcoin transaction, I pay a fee. You aren't going to be paying fees like that. Like, the fees you're going to be paying are in privacy and your data. This is what Libra coin is going to do, in sort of the pejorative negative sense, is it will further solidify this control of we're moving away from sort of big finance and like just the finance sector in general, like controlling the essence of finance. We are seeing it move towards like big tech, and these big tech companies are starting to realize the power of like controlling people's data like that. So in the negative sense, it's this is like the beginning of a massive shift towards we inherently believe in, and like the belief, whatever. But at the same time, they are helping shift the people's understanding of money, like what it's used for, how to like what you can do with money. A lot of these things, these conventions that we're trying to push in the crypto space, right in the Libra coin white paper, they talk about the underbanked population of the planet, 1.7 billion adults, and yet half of them have internet access and smartphone or basic phone access. So being able to reach those people, I think, is important. But at the same time, they have to enforce KYC. And there's over 1 billion people on the planet that don't have any form of formal identification. So I think what we're seeing is just, it is a step forward, but these are some hard steps. We are trying collectively, we're trying to push things forward. And even though it's frustrating to see that like Facebook is making these advancements, and even though we disagree with their methods, we can't argue with the fact that they are pushing the overall narrative forward. And we just aim to benefit from that by being an alternative system, by trying to do things in a more pure egalitarian sense. So yeah, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I don't know.
What could possibly kill this project?
Well, they do have to play by the rules, and they are
whose rules though?
Everybody's, and I think that's what's being shown here, is that there's many different sovereign nations on the planet, and there's many different ways that people look at currency, and just the
like, well, we've seen these lawsuits before where Google and Facebook conduct business according to U.S. regulations, and they get over and do business in the European Union, and then they get sued for billions of dollars because of antitrust or whatever violation they're making. So how on earth are they ever going to get to business or out to market with this thing by next year and make everybody happy with it?
I don't know. It's their challenge. I think one of the biggest, but it has to start somewhere, I suppose. And I think they're going to rise to the challenge in whatever way they can, and break into whatever markets they can. And in some respects, it is like, in the U.S., if we hold them back from doing this, yes, in some respects, we're going to prevent them from coming in and like preventing all this data mining and all this sort of stuff. But are we losing out? Like, are we letting other countries go forward with innovation and progress? I don't know. It's a like a fine line you have to draw. Yeah, and where crypto fits in with all of this is that's what interests me. How do we play ourselves as an alternative system with a better solution, a better method? Just show people the light, I suppose.
Yeah, because right now what you've got is you got Maxine Waters in the House. You've got Sherrod Brown raising his hand. So you've got people that are, for the people that are blocking this thing so far. And so you're going to have to convince them that this is a good thing. So I wonder if Zuckerberg is going to get called in front of Congress again and play his robot routine. He was There's been right. There's been like memes about that. Like he was like, drinking water. Like it's just what a guy. So okay, no one listens to that old coot. Unfortunately, she gets enough press because she's her statements are outrageous enough that people listen to her. So
someone in the chat was saying that she smells.
well, she's also chair of the House Finance Committee, isn't it?
Mhm.
So it's unfortunately she does have some power and she can obfuscate this project. So we'll see. So anyway, probably that's enough about Libra coin. There's going to be talk about Libra coin for the next year, and people are going to get sick of it. Meanwhile, the crypto market, the organic crypto market, just continues to just, rip away. I can do a little share screen magic here with y'all. Okay. So, it's hard to look at this and have a problem with it right now because we're seeing in larger time frames, we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. This is just, of course, Bitcoin, which, obviously it's not just Bitcoin anymore. However, same as it ever was, right? The more things change, the more they stay the same. You would have thought by now we'd have the flippening and the flippening 5 times over by now, but nobody's been able to knock the king off the perch. When is the actual Litecoin halvening date? Is that coming up in about a month?
It's in August.
It's in August? Okay.
Yeah, I can look it up.
So this is doing what it should do, and actually is, the chart-wise looks really, really good right now for Litecoin. It's gone into, there's a huge difference here in terms of just the way that the chart operates, because right now it's just going into stair-stepping mode, which is actually a very bullish price behavior. So I like that. So, let's see. I've got another complainer about the mirroring the video. Let's go into this again. We'll do this every week. I have tried everything that I can to do. I'm going to stop sharing, so I'll get right in front. I have tried everything to stop mirroring the video, and I won't do it. I can't get the function to work. So I'm inviting people to come to my house so they can fix my mirroring on the video. So the ReadySetCrypto behind is, I'll give you free alcohol, whatever it takes to.
You guys know how to trigger Doc.
I don't get triggered, but
you get flipped off.
I'll just be quiet here for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, let's take some questions. Let's see what we have out there today. MT Coiner says the only thing that can kill Libra is Libra itself. Interesting comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ambitious. I mean, like they've obviously got the resources to make it happen, but at the same time, I think they're trying to do a lot of things at once, and they're trying to take market share before anybody else. I don't know. It will be interesting to see if it just continues to get punted down the road of it, like indefinitely or whatever happens. I don't know. They're gonna fight.
Okay, so Maxwell says Maxwell's equation said, "Have you tried to point the camera at a mirror with you in the mirror?" That's probably the best suggestion that I've gotten. Let's see. What do you think about Nash?
That's just cool.
What can you educate us on what a DAO is?
So, decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, aims to be a company that runs itself, basically. A company almost set up like a smart contract. It takes parameters in, it spits an output out. I don't know if we're ready to see that kind of technology like in play in large scale operations. There's just a lot of parameters in play, but I think what a DAO is as a part of a larger like technological cohesive unit. Like if you're using smart contracts and oracles, and you're taking in IoT information and stuff like that. Like imagine having a logistics company that runs a fleet of automated semi trucks and automated boats and automated factories, and it all like runs itself and just says like, oh, someone bought something at a Walmart, replace, like make one more of that item and then ship it over right now. That kind of stuff. Like I think that's really interesting. But
so for a supply chain, maybe not necessarily for an exchange then.
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't seen I haven't seen any good examples. So yeah, I think the context is for Digitex. I don't know. Like I don't know if it's a good or bad move yet. I think it's I kind of wish that they wouldn't distract themselves and just kind of focus, like laser focus on getting the exchange out there, and then worry about pivots towards potential, like really cool tech, yes, but also sort of highly niche. So yeah, it's a problem in general with tech, is that we get too ambitious and we like go too crazy, and we get too many steps ahead of ourselves. It's a tough space to build stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think we've talked a lot about Digitex and Libra coin at this point. So yeah, I guess I'm opaquely bullish on what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm kind of hesitant to continue to support until I see more like concrete evidence that they're making progress.
Well, it's not a matter of us supporting right now. It's a matter of us, our job is not to sit on the sideline and cheerlead. Our job is to actually evaluate whether or not something that they're doing is worthwhile to the community. On that litmus test, it's absolutely. Since day one when I heard about this, I mean, are you kidding me? A commission-free trading exchange? Hallelujah. Would love that. I mean, yeah. I can't tell you. I've been trading in the traditional markets lately. They've got these micro E-mini contracts set up, which are awesome because they reduce the size of the risk granularity by a factor of 10. That's great. However, the existing brokers that are out there are still using the same commission structure for the contract. It kills it. It kills everything. Commissions are the friction of trading right now. So usually somebody says, well, dude, just hodl. That's great. That's great if you got the time to do something like that. Perhaps I don't have the luxury of time to do something like that. So everybody's got a certain need for it. But on Digitex, for the need, for the basic structure of that, absolutely. Are they doing it in the right way, the right business structure, the right execution? So far, 2 strikes on them. So we'll see what they're able to do. We're going to kind of sit back and see how that plays out.
Yeah, so there's we always get a slew of specific project questions. So I'll run through them pretty quickly. Knowles just put out or like Knowles version 2.0 or whatever. It's cool. Like I've followed Knowles for a while now. I'm skeptical of any platform breaking through sort of that adoption curve when we already have some pretty heavily built upon platforms. But it's at the same time, I think Knowles is doing a lot of cool stuff. I guess I needed to look into it a little bit more. Let's see, some favorite projects. Honestly, I'm just going to start every Monday as much as I can. I'll do like a basket of project videos that I'm just like looking at and things that I find cool. And it's not entirely about like, it's not like I'm not trying to shill or anything like that. Like I'm just trying to like present some like, here's some really cool tech projects that are like doing some really cool things I think you should be aware of. This is a very diverse space and it's only continuing to stratify and go off in different avenues. So yeah, that's the aim of that. Matrix AI. Yeah, it's cool. I think I haven't heard much out of it in like the last year or so. It was originally like looking to build an AI system to like like almost automate and audit smart contracts and make sure that they're correct and functioning properly. But yeah, I guess I haven't heard much recently. Morpheus network, very cool. Yeah, that one I'm probably including in the upcoming video on Monday. Just because they're doing awesome stuff. Morpheus Labs too. I kind of wish that they would change their nomenclature, but it is what it is.
Bitcoin is now the 8th largest world currency. I'm just reading an article that just popped up in front of me.
Yeah, it's I think it's held sort of that position for a while now. But what is interesting is we're seeing the highest volume. We've got over a million active addresses. Yeah, things are good, but at the same time, I think we're still like barely scratching the surface of our potential and what we're going to do. Well, we're going to be putting out a video probably tomorrow. We're expanding our team and bringing on some cool people to help us push forward our mission of like research based just heavy-handed videos and our new expansion or our new team member is a guy who goes by Checkmate, and he is an Australian and he does his analysis very well. So his video is going to be on-chain analysis for Bitcoin and how you can basically use on-chain analysis to just see what Bitcoin is going to be doing and better predict, over time, what is the market going to do? What is Bitcoin going to do? How can we analyze something as complex and nascent as Bitcoin's network? So it's a really interesting topic. It's pretty dense, but there's a lot to unpack there.
And I believe that his video is not mirrored either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's just an article that just came out here. Actually, Jerome Powell. So the U.S. Fed today did their policy release and their press conference and surprised a lot of people by not agreeing to raise or cut rates. So I thought the market would crash on that. It is not so far, but somebody asked him about digital currencies, and his comment was, on your specific question of digital currencies replacing central bank currencies, he thinks that they're a long way away from that. Digital currencies are in their infancy, which I like that response because that means that they don't care right now. If he was concerned about it, he would have a lot of negative things about that to say. And he's saying he doesn't have plenary authority over cryptocurrencies as such. They play into our world through consumer protection or whatever. So basically he punted on the question, which means that they have no idea what they're in for, because this will hit a tipping point at some point and they'll be way too late to do anything about it. That's the way that the Fed always operates. It'll be the same thing with the ECB. The ECB, actually, Mario Draghi actually is going to cut rates. So this will be interesting. We're starting to see cracks in the foundation of the financial system, the traditional financial system out there.
Yeah, they're much more concerned with the overall global economy, and it's why I've often said that regulators aren't out there to try to like go after the $20,000 you made off of Bitcoin or anything like that. They have much bigger fish to fry. And yeah, the crypto space is still just tiny, very tiny in the overall scheme of the global financial market. So yeah, it's take it away with the charts.
Oh, sorry about this. I know this is distracting. I got a question in here from Crypto Darthmark. What I've been talking about lately is that we're starting to see some negative divergence coming in. So as we've gone through each of these thrusts, they're getting a little weaker every time. And so what we're seeing is if I had momentum indicator on here, we would see momentum is actually negatively diverging as we're going higher. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you outright naked short everything, because people are getting blown out to the upside. People that are trying to short these things are contributing to these rallies as we approach 10,000. What I'm thinking though, I'm thinking opposite to that. a lot of times what happens is very similar. I don't know if you can see this little candle that showed up around mid-May. Is that mid-May? I can't even look at that here. Yeah, it was about May 15th, 16th or something like that. What I'm thinking is that we might have another one of these one-day wonders. And I think this would be for all these people that I've got left at the altar on the rally up. Setting in a good till cancel limit order might be a good thing to do in terms of seeking supply. Now, Crypto Darthmark was actually asking about the opposite side. Do you think that there's a sell to open order that we need to set up here? And I think no, that's not the way I play things, and I think that's a very dangerous way to do it in a traditional primary uptrend like this. Okay. And there we go. All right, so we'll stop my thing there. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about what we're doing. We've got Checkmate is in the process of doing a piece-by-piece masterclass on-chain analysis.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, maybe you can speak to that just for a second in terms of what he's doing and how we're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty dense topic, but to my knowledge, it's the first real cohesive class on that topic anywhere. So it's really cool for us to be starting to look for these little niche topics that we feel are worth talking about, because if you don't know about on-chain analysis, what are you doing?
Well, it's not something that most people are talking about. It's like you say, it's a very niche topic. It's a way to do technical analysis fundamentally. So one of the things that we're really missing from the world of crypto is any kind of real decent fundamental analysis, right? Because a lot of the things that we're basing our decisions upon are just not there. There's no revenue, there's no profits, there's no margins to look at, things like that from a fundamental perspective. But what we do have is we have the performance of the chain that we can look at, and making decisions based on the chain is groundbreaking. So this is one thing that we're looking at. Next month, I believe I'm going to go out on a limb. And originally I was going to do a class on trading bots, but I think what I'd be better served doing is doing one on options, because I believe that as we get into the latter half of 2019, 2020, derivatives, I talked about this before, derivatives are going to be huge, and we've seen those take over in futures. Like anybody that trades BitMEX knows what a futures contract is by now, right? And so BitMEX is the number one exchange that drives BTC traffic. And so I think we're in the very infancy of seeing options also into this space. And as we get RSX, as we get backed, companies like that get involved with things, they're going to start to drive options traffic as well too. So want to get people prepared for that and start to use options in a very safe and a very conservative manner, and not in the way that most people are doing it. So that's probably out there in the month of July.
What is the fund-sized explanation on what options are, and why should you care about them in today's market when you could just go long or short on anything?
Well, you can go long or short. Well, there's three different ways to look at things, right? And so we're seeing a lot of analogies to the equities market, right? The analogy to an equity, a share of stock, is obviously a coin, right? So it's called the spot currency. So the spot currency is what most people are trading. From there, we get into the world of derivatives. Now, why do you use derivatives? Because in the equities world, coming up with $180,000 to buy 100 shares of Amazon is impossible for most people. So what we're using is derivatives, which, as you guys know, is, a facsimile, a very small facsimile of the organic unit, right? So you can trade in derivatives. Those are futures. Now, futures are the ideal directional instrument. You can go long, You can go short with equal ease. And most people right now in spot currency cannot go short in a spot currency. So you have to have a margin account. You have to have a bigger account because you need that margin. But if you're using futures, you can have a lot less capital to do the same kind of thing. So you can actually make money to the downside, or you can hedge your long portfolio. Now that's a big boy game. You have to have a bigger account to do something like that. But for most people with small accounts, they can play long or short. Now options get into the game where this is where the institutions are making money and managing risk, is through options. You can think of options are much more complicated, but for those of you that spend the time to learn them, it's an easier way of making money. Imagine this. Imagine if you were able to identify kind of a range that price would trade within, and you can actually make money if the price just trades within a range of prices within a specified time. So that's a non-directional trade. You can also do directional trades, but quite honestly, doing directional trades with an options contract is a little too complicated. There's a lot of variables in there. So what you end up being is an insurance company when you trade options. You end up selling them. So think about an insurance company. Are they considered to be a conservative, stable, dependable type of business? And I think most people would say, well, yeah, it's a very consistent, conservative way to make money on a regular basis. Well, that's true. However, you have to be able to manage risk. And so that's the key with options is forget about all the charts, forget about all the technical wizardry. You become a risk manager when you trade options. And we can already start to do that right now on some exchanges, not legally in the US, but we're getting there, right? So somebody's got to take the first stand. So like Deribit right now is out there. Ledger X is available in the US, but only to accredited investors. There's going to be more coming through the end of the year. So it's a very interesting way to be able to make money and to create consistent income, but it does require more diligence on your side, much more knowledge about how these options move.
Cool. Yeah. And hopefully it's clear to people that, what we're here to do is, we try to provide guidance, we try to provide education, and, everybody's here to make money, but at the same time, we want to help you do that in ways that are, not as risk heavy as just going like all in on a BitMEX contract or all in on some, ICO or something like that. We feel like there's better ways. And by taking the time to educate yourself and see the diversity of options, pun intended, before you, I think that's what helps you stay alive and stay, profit driven in this day and age of, massively expanding possibilities and opportunities. So yeah, it's all about protecting your capital, guys.
Yeah. And guys, don't feel like you need to learn everything that's out there. Some people just are in a panic to they think that they have to learn everything that's out there to know everything. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff that Mav knows that I have no clue about, right? But I confine myself to my niche. I operate within my niche, and I try to be, a master of my own domain. That's kind of your job right now as individual investors, is that you have to find out your style. You have to find out your way of doing some things that makes sense to you, and then find that, identify that, and then master that. So what we try to do is provide a very broad approach. We're not saying any one way is right. And it's kind of your goal is to identify what resonates with you and then dive into that. And so that's why we're here. We're here to help people and, get you guys over the hump and use this amazing opportunity that we have in cryptocurrency to get your fair share.
Hemisphere Builders Limited. You gotta tell us your name, man. You've been in a lot of our streams. It's kind of a big name. He's asking if trading within a range like that is an iron condor.
Yeah, that's what the strategy is called. So it's a combination of long and short contracts that you use, and it is a risk limited and it is a range bound strategy. There's many different ones that you can use. You can use butterflies. You can use calendar spreads actually are another way to do that. So time spreads within. So there's all kinds of different ways, and I don't want anybody's eyeballs to roll back into your forehead yet. So, but that's something that's kind of my thing.
Speaking of things, gold and silver is one. Someone's commenting about that. That's Checkmate's thing. Checkmate is a big believer in diversifying into gold, and the strategies behind that. So I think he'll bring that perspective to the channel as well, because it is important to look at traditionally safe assets like that, and diversify your portfolio so that you can ride out whatever storm is coming, because that's how we should be playing. We should be hoping for the future, but expecting the worst. So there's another.
Oh, hey, Ali G is here. That's cool. Is that the same guy that did the
Ali G show?
Yeah, the Ali G show. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Those are brilliant.
Yeah.
Coin Magic options are awesome, but none are here to have a delta neutral portfolio. We're here for the Wild West. Yeah, I hear you. Everybody is attracted to get rich overnight, get rich quick and stuff like that. But what people find is that when they get tired of going up and down the roller coasters, so that works for a while, then all of a sudden you give it back. That works for a while, then you give it back. And finally you're like, my God, if I could just find something consistent, maybe that just comes with age. Guilty, but that's what you can also do is you can stratify your money. You can put in your foundation with something that is more consistent. Writing options, being an insurance company. Yeah, it sounds boring, but build your base with that. And then of course, at the top of your pyramid with your capital, use a smaller amount of that for the Wild West. That's kind of what I do.
There's been a couple questions about Binance, so I just want to make sure I address that. Yeah, Binance is going to be restricting U.S. trading. I forget what month, soon. And yeah, I guess there's some concerns about that, or questions as to what to do. First off, if you're reliant on Binance as your storage solution, don't. That's especially after it was hacked. I think it should be very clear that it is not a reliable source of security. I understand that the convenience, as I was talking about earlier, everything is a spectrum between convenience and security. I understand the convenience of keeping it on an exchange like that with high liquidity, but at the same time, you have to understand not your keys, not your crypto, and especially in the context of Binance, I think they, I don't know. I would prefer to keep my crypto off an exchange like that. So as to what to do in terms of trading going forward, yeah, that's unfortunate. I think it is sort of a loss for us to sort of lose that in some sense. But September, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to play it by ear. But what should be very clear with this industry is things move very fast, and the paradigms shift overnight. So I'm not exactly lamenting the loss of Binance, and it's I haven't been relying on Binance for a long time now. So we do the best we can, but I think it's clear that the space is expanding, and you'll have options. Like you won't be prevented from trading crypto. Yeah, there will be ways. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, let's take our last question here. Your thoughts on BitTrue and the Power Piggy program?
There is. I assume that's going to be like some sort of interest yielding account, similar to what BlockFi is doing. Cool. It's important for us to start building some of these open finance solutions. We'll see if it gets adoption, but I think it's a compelling alternative to the pittance that you get for normal checking account interest rates. So hey, interesting, cool.
Hey guys, we'd like to thank you for hanging out with us today. We're going to do this every week, so don't feel like this is the last time you see us. So Thanks everybody for hanging out with Mav and myself.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Smash the likes, right? And we will see you guys coming up here pretty soon.
Take care, guys.
All right. Adios, amigos.
Cheers.